I never really practiced taking off, and I have a lot of people give me a lot of crap about it, so let's try it. Let's try takeoff. Hey, buenos dias, que paso amigos, John's Moto Garage. Welcome back to the channel. Let's see, which bike should we take out today? I'm going to back it up a little bit. Oh, nice. I haven't ridden the Street Bob in a while. What's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel, John's Moto Garage. We're going to jump on the Street Bob, take it for a spin. And today I'm going to talk about 5 of the most common reasons why I personally will walk away from a deal buying a used motorcycle. 5 deal breakers, 5 things that for me are like a total no-go. So let's jump on the bike, let's hit it. And if you guys are new to the channel and you dig the content, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out tremendously. Hit me on Instagram at John's Moto Garage, and you can also support me on Patreon as well. Shout out to the patrons, and link below if you want to do that. Much appreciated. So just to preface this, if you're new to the channel, you may not know, but I like to buy and sell motorcycles on the side. So these are some of the things over the years that I've come to learn about buying used motorcycles. And this is just talking used motorcycles. I'm not talking going out and buying a brand new bike. Typically, these are bikes I find on Craigslist, OfferUp, sometimes Cycle Trader. Wherever your used motos are found. And another thing important to note is these are just reasons why I choose to walk away from a bike. I'm not a professional mechanic. Well, I'm not mechanically inept. I'm also just not a huge fan of working on the bike. So these may not apply to you guys. Keep in mind, these are just reasons why I choose to walk away from certain deals. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Reason number 1, tires. One of the first things you want to check on a used motorcycle is the condition of the tires. And don't be fooled, sometimes just because they have a lot of tread doesn't mean it's a good tire. You can check the DOT number on the side of the tire. It'll tell you the year the tire was manufactured. So due to age, and it's anywhere from like 4 to 7 years depending on who you talk to, we'll say it's unsafe to ride on a motorcycle with old tires. In addition to that, a tire could be relatively new, but if the bike's been sitting out exposed to the elements, and or if they've just put a ton of miles on the bike, then the tires may be bad. Now, one of the reasons that tires are kind of a deal breaker for me is because most of the bikes I'm going to be selling, and so it's just an expensive thing to go out and put new tires on a motorcycle. It can cost anywhere from a couple hundo up to, you know, $500-600. But I will say, don't let that be a distractor. If you're out there and you find the bike of your dreams, let's say, or it's got, you know, it's the deal's right, then just factor that into the price. And you may still consider buying the motorcycle, just plan on dumping that money into tires after the fact. All right, you guys, reason number 2, mileage. And you'll note I don't necessarily say high mileage, but just mileage. I'll explain. And this is a little bit of a controversial one. I know I'll get some blowback for this, but I'll explain my position at least. So 2 of the biggest detractors for me with mileage, one is going to be super high mileage, and that's all relative. It depends on the motorcycle. For example, a big touring bike, we all know they can run, especially if well maintained, 100, 150,000. I've heard of bikes running 200,000 plus miles. The problem is, again, if I plan to turn around and sell a bike at some point, it really narrows the market, and I've learned from experience. So I typically won't buy a bike if it has more than like 20,000, 25K. I really try to avoid bikes with 30,000 and up. And I totally understand that a bike with 35, 40,000 miles that's been well maintained can oftentimes be a much better deal than your motorcycle that has 4,000 miles but has been beat to crap. I get that, but again, turning around and planning on selling a motorcycle, I've just found that there's not a good market once the mileage is, you know, 20k 30k miles. It's harder to sell the bikes, and the reason for that, I think, is because there are so many alternative options that have way lower miles. So to be competitive, you either got to drop the price drastically, or you're just going to be sitting on it waiting for the right buyer. So I typically try to stay away from bikes with super high mileage. And then another one is bikes with super low miles. Now, I'm not really concerned if the bike's only a couple of years old, but when you've got a 10-year-old bike that only has, say, 1,000 miles on it, it means the thing's been sitting for 10 years, barely ridden at all. And so you could potentially have even more issues just because of the fact that it's been sitting for so long. And then also, it depends on the motorcycle. So take, for example, a Honda Grom. If I find a Honda Grom with like 3, 4, 5,000 miles, based on what most people take their Grom and use it for, that's, in my book, high mileage on a Honda Grom, because odds are half of those are on one wheel and it's just a much smaller engine. On the flip side, if it's a, say, a Honda Goldwing or a Harley Ultra Classic, you know, big touring bike, and it's only got, I don't know, 30,000 miles, then I may not be as concerned about something like that. And then also, again, you just have to take into account, has the bike been well maintained? Do you have records of that? And if so, it may still be worth the purchase. Take this bike, for example. It had about 23,000 miles when I bought it. That was a big hang up for me initially, but once I saw the bike in person and spoke with the dude and saw the condition it was in, I was able to look past that, and obviously I ended up buying it. So what do we got? Tires and mileage. Reason number 3, I won't even consider a motorcycle restored salvage title. Now, I know there are reasons why a bike would be deemed restored salvage or salvage title that are just bogus nonsense reasons, just have to do with the logistics of insurance. But for me, again, from a resale standpoint, if I'm looking to sell it at any point in the future, it's just not something I even want to mess with. And for those who don't know, a restored salvage basically means the bike was in some type of an accident and insurance basically said it's not worth us paying to have the bike repaired, and or it cannot be repaired, or the damage is beyond repair. All right, you guys, reason number 4, and this is perhaps the most common thing that I run into with used motorcycles that I walk away from, and that would be leaks. Oil leaks typically, but also it could be like leaky fork seals. And sometimes if there's like a little bit like scant leakage in the fork seal, I'm not super concerned about that. But if it's gonna be but if it's like gushing out, then that's a big issue for me. I pass up on some potentially smoking deals if I find that, because I don't want to pass that along to the next dude, and I don't want to run the risk of getting my hands on something that I can't necessarily fix in a timely manner or in a cost-effective manner. All right, you guys, and that brings us to reason number 5, the ultimate and final reason, in no particular order, and that would have to be strange or weird noises, usually coming from the engine. And again, this is one where, not being a mechanic, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't want to deal with any of that kind of stuff. So sometimes I'm paranoid even, and I'll, again, pass up on good deals because I hear something and I'm just not sure what it is. Is it the valves? Is it the knock? What's going on? And so I'll pass up on the deal. So typically, if I hear any strange or abnormal noises, for me it's a no-go. I'll walk away. And sometimes I've seen the most just beautiful motorcycles, everything I'm looking for, great deal, and I end up walking away because I'm just not sure what it is. That's where it'd be great to have a mechanic buddy, somebody with a little more knowledge who actually knows what's going on. But again, live and learn, you know what I mean? Live and learn. So there you have it, you guys. My 5 reasons, the most common reasons why I personally walk away from used motorcycles that I'm planning to buy and I know I'll sell at some point in the future. Reason number 1 being tires that are just not in good condition. Reason number 2 being, what was reason number 2? I can't multitask, you guys. Tires, high mileage, or super low mileage. Again, that's relative, depends on the bike and the situation. Restored salvage titles, you know, major accident damage, stuff like that. Oil leaks and strange noises. Again, those are just my reasons, and that's taken into consideration why I'm buying the motorcycle and what I ultimately plan on doing with it. So I understand that situational may not be the same for you. Leave some comments below. What are some reasons why you have passed up on deals and or would say it's a deal breaker? Let me know in the comments below. I never really practiced taking off, and I have a lot of people give me a lot of crap about it. So let's try it. Let's try takeoff. Alright guys, John's Moto Garage. If you dig the content, like and subscribe. Hit me on Instagram at John's Moto Garage, and feel free to check out my Patreon as well, link below. Thanks again for all the support. Shout out to the patrons, and let me know what you think about used motos. Would you buy one? Would you not? And why would you walk away? We'll hit you guys on the next one. Adios. Nos vemos.